you noticed the change of venue? If you've seen this before, you know I usually do my reviews from home, but as I come in each week to do a safety and security check, I thought for today I would do my review in the library, and you can see what you're missing and what's waiting for you when the branches reopen. So today I'm going to talk about David Niven's The Moon's a Balloon. This is an autobiography and it's a really good read. Excuse me. I've also checked and it's also available on Overdrive, so if you'd like to read it before we reopen, that would be great. So this is, although David Niven is well known as an actor, this actually begins when he talks about being told that his father was missing in action during the First World War. He comes from a fairly aristocratic or upper middle class background, but it turns out, now that his father's died, that he's actually in a lot of debt. So all of their possessions have to be sold, so they live in straitened circumstances. Having said that, David is still sent to boarding school and he still ends up going to Sandhurst. So his mother does try to give him the childhood and training that was appropriate for his father's son. So this is all about the things that they get up to at boarding school. He's a proper joker. He's always playing practical jokes and doing various naughty things. And it gets to the extent that he is expelled at the age of 10 from the boarding school that he was going to. So from there on, he goes to various not very nice crammers run by pretty awful people you wouldn't actually want to send your child to if you knew what was going on. But along the way, he manages to pass his school certificate and he gets into the army. So then we hear about what the sort of hijinks he gets up to when he's in the army, while he's trained to become an officer. Eventually, he resigns his commission and goes over to Canada and then on to America to make his fortune. He starts off in America at a new company. Prohibition is just ending, so it's selling alcohol, and he's not very good at it. And apparently there's a picture of him saying the first and worst employee of the company, which is him, because he doesn't like selling to people. So he still goes out with all of his friends and lives the life of a man about town, but along the way he's trying to be a salesman and earn some commission on his basic pay. So then we come to the Hollywood era, when he eventually does get a contract and is loaned out and works with all of the famous names of the day, such as Humphrey Bogart, Lauren Bacall, Greta Garbo. There's a really interesting anecdote about time that he spent with his group of friends with Frank Sinatra. So we hear about the origin of the term the Rat Pack, and it isn't anything to do with the group of men such as Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr. that we think from the publicity. It's actually about rats. So, and from that point of view, he talks about his friends as friends, the way you or I would talk about our friends. They are his friendship group, and it sounds like they really were quite a nice bunch. So that's when he's a bachelor. So he gets up to all sorts of things while he's a single man in Hollywood, as he would do. And then eventually he marries. World War II comes along and he comes back to England and joins up. So we hear about his war years, the friends that he makes, the friends that he's lost, he loses, and the sort of thing that happens in the army during the war. After 6 long years, he goes back to Hollywood to try and pick up his career, but there's been a lot of people coming along behind him, and he ends up branching out a bit, but eventually he does get back into films. I would say this is a really interesting read, whether you know the actor or not, whether you're of that age who watch the films such as The Guns of Navarone and things, because it's really funny in places. Some of his anecdotes are hilarious, and it's also very sad in places. So everything happens in this book. It describes the sort of life that many of us couldn't imagine, whether from his childhood and upbringing to the Hollywood years or to the army life. So if you would like to read something that is very interesting and completely apart from how we live today. I would highly recommend this. Have a look on Overdrive if you don't want to wait until the branches reopen. Thank you.